In order to learn anything, you need these three things to get an education. One is an education in knowledge, meaning that somebody has to give you the actual knowledge, and it has to be organized so that you're getting it in an order that makes sense, that you're able to get in a small enough part that you can digest it, organize it in your mind before the next piece of knowledge comes in, put that one in, and they connect, they come together so that one thing feeds into the next, feeds into the next. So it's not 100 separate things, but it becomes one unit, 100 pieces being added one at a time, right? And so that's the job of a teacher, and that's the education and knowledge that we talk about. How, like, basically the knowledge. I mean, it's that simple. The next thing is that while you're getting each piece of knowledge, right, you don't get it all at once, you get one piece, then you have to experiment with it. You have to practice it. And I don't mean practice like day after day after day. Exercise one, you might only do 1 or 2 practices on it, but there has to be somebody who can watch what you're doing to make sure that you did in fact understand the knowledge the way it was given to you, that you haven't misinterpreted it, right? So if I need you to walk as a teacher, if I'm trying to teach you how to get from where you are on a very straight and narrow path, let's say 100 feet out, if I give you the information and then turn around and walk away, there's a very small chance you're going to stay on that path, because somewhere along the way there's going to be some place where there was a misinterpretation. A great example of that is if I give you directions. If I tell you, like, you're going to go out here, you're going to make a left, you're going to go up 3 blocks and make a right, 2 more blocks, make another right, you're going to go down, right? I give you directions. I give you, how many turns can I give you before you don't even remember what the first turn was? And that's what happens in a lot of these educations. You give it a whole bunch of information. Like if you watch a YouTube video, tons and tons of information, but it's like directions to go someplace 5 miles away, 100 turns. How are you going to remember that? How are you going to be able to apply it? Even if you write it all down, how are you going to be able to apply that? You don't have any experience in the first thing yet. You need that before you do the second, and so on. So the idea is that once you're given this one piece of information, you're going to take one step with it. But the guided experience is the person who stands beside you and makes sure that foot, when it goes down in your first step, lands on the road that you're walking on, doesn't step off into the grass. And if it does, the teacher puts it back on the path by correcting the work and saying, okay, here's the second exercise, same skill. Let's see you do it again. Now they see you put your foot on the path. Now you know they've got that skill. Then you add the next skill. The teacher watches to see how you step. Do you step straight forward, or are you moving off the path again? A good program gives you the knowledge in small pieces and then watches you to make sure you stay on that path, that straight line towards your goal. Again, the moment you step off that path, if you don't have somebody get you back on it, you're never going to find it again. You're going to be walking off into the weeds, and it'll be done. And again, you'll think that you were doing what you were shown, but in the end, you're probably creating your own approach to art. And I can tell you from experience, I did that. I'll give you an example. I actually did that. So many years ago, when I was first doing this, when I was first learning how to make art, there was a book done by, it was Science Fiction or Fantasy Art Techniques by Boris Vallejo. And in the book, he explains his entire process. And this is a great example of what I'm talking about, like with YouTube. And he writes out the entire process. He's even got pictures. And so I misinterpreted something. So he was taking photographs for his reference, and they were Polaroids. I did the same thing. My Polaroid camera was $19, and his was probably $2,000. It was a professional Polaroid camera taking high-end photographs. I didn't know the difference. And he didn't say, this is the camera I use, because anything less is going to give you terrible reference you can't paint from. But I didn't know what I didn't know. So I was taking terrible photographs. He was using professional lighting. I was taking photographs in my bedroom with a tungsten light bulb overhead. I didn't know. So bad photographs, terrible color, bad lighting, I mean, everything. And then I tried to make paintings from it. I would then do what I saw him do. He said, do a transfer. So I'd blow the image up, just like he said, use the same basic device. blow the thing up, do a transfer, get it on the board. And then even though he, in his pictures, had the photographs taped up on the board where he was painting, it didn't occur to me that I needed to keep them after I did the transfer. So I'd throw the photographs away and then paint from my imagination. Yeah, look at that face. It didn't occur to me. I just assumed that the photographs were taped up on the painting as he was working, just to show us how close, in his book, how close the paintings were to the photographs. It didn't occur to me that I needed to keep the photograph and work side by side, maintain it as reference. I'm not dumb, I mean, well, maybe I am. I don't think I'm dumb, but I misinterpreted. And that's a huge problem with these things like YouTube videos and these programs where there's no teacher. And I don't mean just someone who really knows what they're doing and is invested in your success, that they watch every step you take to make sure that your feet stay on the path. Unless you're in a program that's doing that, you are eventually going to find yourself misinterpreting and finding yourself off in the weeds, struggling to figure out why it is you can't work. And we all fall back on the old thing. I don't have a talent for this. I've reached the limits of my talent. Let me tell you, there's no such thing as talent. There's a solid education and there's hard work. There's nothing else. You want to do this, don't even use the word talent. Go to work, get into a good program, learn what you need to learn, and then just do the work. If you do that, the results are guaranteed. You cannot fail. But you have to be honest with yourself that you're really doing the work to the best of your ability. Like in Evolve, we don't strive for excellence. I mean, for perfection. We strive for excellence. Excellence just means it's the best you have today. If you do that every day, there's nothing to hold you back.